Hello everyone, tonight on our program, government officially announces ambitious initiatives to support youth-led businesses in the country. We'll hear from the finance minister who presented the mid-year budget review in Parliament.
Government is today announcing a 1 million jobs initiatives to aggressively respond to the needs of the country. This is to promote growth in SMEs, support new ventures, and stimulate innovation and startups.
The finance minister also hints of plans to establish what he calls a youth bank to provide financial support and solutions for startup businesses.
Enterprise and Youth Support Fund, which aligns with government's overall strategy of developing a competitive and viable private sector economy, will set up a youth bank with the aim of financing youth-led startup businesses across the country.
And we'll tell you about government's plans to deal with revenue shortfalls.
Transformation agenda, the remit to identify and prevent revenue leakages whilst reinforcing the culture of compliance nationwide. A formal launch of this initiative is scheduled for Monday, 2nd August 2021.
This is Business Live. My name is Darryl Kwa. Thanks for joining us tonight. We've got details right after this. Thanks for staying with us tonight. Big day today. Government has officially announced ambitious initiatives targeted at youth-led businesses in the country. In his presentation of the mid-year budget review in Parliament, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta said a 1 million jobs initiative has been set in motion with the aim to promote the growth of small and medium-sized enterprises, as well as support budding entrepreneurs to create jobs for the teeming unemployed youth.
A recent survey indicated that about 50% of local employers report misalignment of or inadequacy of skills in the market. It also reports in response to this, we are strengthening the links between education and job market stakeholders. We are also revitalizing the skills development initiatives and the Ghana Enterprises Agency, NEIP, YEA, and CODVET. We are also feverishly working on a scheme that enables the private sector to train new recruits entrants at a subsidized rates by government. Mr. Speaker, our intention ecosystem is expected to help remove the binding constraints of financing and market linkages for our daring youth. Our focus will remain on establishing a strong value system for entrepreneurship to flourish. Mr. Speaker, recognizing that more needs to be done, government is today announcing a 1 million jobs initiatives to aggressively respond to the needs of the country. This is to promote growth in SMEs, support new ventures, and stimulate innovation and startups.
The finance minister also hinted of plans to establish what he describes as a youth bank, and according to him, this will provide financial support and solutions to startup businesses in the country.
The Youth Support Fund, which aligns with government's overall strategy of developing a competitive and viable private sector economy, will set up a youth bank with the aim of financing youth-led startup businesses across the country. As part of this initiative, an online investment hub will be established for youth across the country to access information for the purpose of establishing businesses. It is estimated over 100,000 jobs will be created through this. Mr. Speaker, the Venture Fund Trust, which is being revamped to be better positioned to carry out the designated activities, also as a fund manager. Mr. Speaker, we are also pursuing the Obatampa Youth Entrepreneurship Drive, Ghana Skills and Entrepreneurship Development Project, Student Entrepreneurship Initiative, the Youth in Community Improvement Model, and the Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program as direct interventions in targeted sectors to help our youth live decent lives and contribute to nation building. These interventions are clearly designed to bring us closer to confronting the jobs and employment challenges of our youth. To ensure dedicated resources, the Ministry of Finance and all participating institutions will next month sign an implementation compact on youth employment, which will tie release of resources to delivery of results. This compact will also track youth-focused initiatives across the value chain of interventions under the Ghana Cares program.
The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta there. So how are entrepreneurs reacting to this? My colleague Charles Aite watched the presentation with young entrepreneur Nanama Entridakwa. Here is his report.
Nanama Entridakwa is a young entrepreneur who's been in the cosmetic industry since 2016. Her business has been on life support since the coronavirus disrupted her supply chain.
It's tough, you know, but yeah, you have to keep going because I suppose every business goes through that stage.
In the global financial architecture to support it.
As we watched the media estimate presentation live on our phones, I wondered if the interventions announced, including the establishment of a youth bank, resonates with her. We listened with rapt attention as the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced a 1 million jobs initiative to deal with Ghana's unemployment crisis.
We are also revitalizing the skills development initiatives and the Ghana Enterprises Agency.
We've been watching the Finance Minister for quite some time now. Does most of the things he's saying relate to you as an entrepreneur?
Kind of. Well, they're giving funding to SMEs, and I am an SME, so definitely yes. I am part of. I fall in that category. Yeah.
Of course, when they say that some injections have been made into the SME sector through the Ghana Cares program to revamp, collapsed businesses, how do you respond to that as an SME? Because all too soon we've seen your production house shut down.
One was a loan, so I don't really get that. Because if the person is not producing, I don't see how you give them a loan, because they're not even making sales.
As she counts her losses and hopes for a big comeback, Nana's wish is for the budget presentation not to be a talk shop, but an actual lifesaver for her business and that of other young entrepreneurs.
The key message out of the media budget estimate has got to do with the financing of businesses through the Youth Bank, which is support of 1 million jobs and create more revenue for young people. But for the likes of entrepreneurs as Nana, she is much more concerned about how these funds will be rolled out and how they will be disbursed to ensure that each and every entrepreneur in the country reaps the benefit from this budget statement. I'm Charles Aite reporting for Joy Business.
All right, Dr. Sherry Galli is CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. He joins me on Zoom to discuss this. Great to have you on our program tonight. I think it is absolutely fantastic that government is setting in motion that 1 million jobs initiative and this youth bank to provide financial support and solutions for startup businesses. If they're able to do this, we are definitely going to see transformation in the ecosystem. What do you think?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right. So apologies for that. So what I was saying is that it is a laudable, they are all laudable ideas, creating 1 million jobs and also the youth bank. In as much as they are laudable ideas, I would want to say that this is not something I am too elated about or too happy about. And I have my reasons for saying this. It is not always about the numbers. It is not always about how some shows or big it looks like. The most important thing is the how. We've heard about 1 million jobs, not today. So I am not too elated. Why am I saying this? We will need to really look at what exactly we need to create jobs. So for that one, let me give it to the government, because we are yet to see the effects of COVID-19. It's now unraveling. This is the time we are seeing it. I am telling you that people are secretly laid off at work as we sit now. So it is good at this point that the government is thinking of creating jobs, at least 1 million jobs. But let's go back to the drawing board. Is it always that we come to talk about numbers, but not how it's supposed to be done? We know that the Youth Employment Agency had a mandate to create jobs. We know that NEP is supporting young entrepreneurs with funding. The GEA, Ghana Enterprise Agency, is doing this. The National Youth Authority. Now, when you have these fragmented promises, so it is good to target to create 1 million jobs. But the most important thing is that what of those that we tried with, are they working? I am happy to hear the minister in his address saying that they already have about 5 programs ongoing. I would have loved to hear that out of these 5 programs that have run for this year, we've been able to create this number of jobs. We've been able to have this impact before we can then say that let us do these new things. Then to talk of the youth bank, it is absolutely coming out with a bank that is it's called the Youth Investment Bank. That will tell you that is very important. So kudos to the government for coming out with this initiative of a youth bank. At least the young people will know that we now have an institution that will focus on us, despite whatever they say, we being high risk business cohort, but we have a bank that will focus on our funding. But let us still go back to the drawing board and see what the impact NEP funding has on young people. What have Ghana Enterprises Agency's impact on funding? This will inform or tell us exactly how to run this Ghana Youth Bank or whatever you call it. If that is not done, I don't forget the Ghana Startup Act that we are currently championing for. As part of it, there's a component that talks of a fund, setting up a fund called the Ghana Startup Fund. So we could look at all these things. The government of the day can even use this legal framework or legal backing to set up this fund, whether it's a bank or it's just a fund we are setting up. The most important thing is that we have a clear framework or a structure as to how this thing will be implemented. Else we will be happy with this big mentions, these big interventions, but at the end of the day, we will not achieve anything.
And I think that you make very important points, and I totally agree with you on that. What appears to be a duplication of some of these programs that have been announced over the years. And so, like you say, we should go back to the drawing board and try to identify what we really need. For instance, so if you have this program running, if you talk to small businesses, the issue are going to suffer at the end of the day. Sherry?
I didn't hear you, please. The network was off.
Yeah, so I'm just making a point about taxes and their impact on businesses. And I would think that would be the focus as well as the finance minister made that presentation today.
Yes. So your point is right. Like you said, it is important we go back to the drawing board, really understand what the needs of these youth businesses are. What do our economy really need to create 1 million jobs? And those interventions with this 1 million jobs, if that is not done, I still believe at the end of the day, we have a target. For 1 million jobs is just a target. I can come and tell you, Joy, I want to mobilize 1 million Ghana cedi for Joy. But as to how I am going to get the money should be the importance. Joy shouldn't just be happy because I want to mobilize 1 million Ghana cedi. So it boils down to the implementation and really targeting. Because if I know that maybe Joy needs 1 million, that's why I mentioned it, that doesn't help. So let us get back to the drawing board. All of the interventions or fund young entrepreneurs and their innovative startups and ideas. 1 million job can even look a bit smaller, but it's okay as of now. So for me, I give in, I support, but let's be mindful of the how we are going to implement this and try as much as possible that when it comes to youth development issues, let's harmonize all the fragmental interventions and put them together to come up with a very strong framework for Ghana towards youth development.
All right. That was Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, Dr. Sherry Galli. I appreciate your time with us. minister spoke about so many other things aside from job creation. He kept all the macroeconomic targets set in the 2021 budget. In his presentation, he announced new measures to deal with revenue shortfalls. We've got all of that captured in this report.
The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, in his presentation, gave details of some new initiatives aimed at improving revenue mobilization in the country.
Government is aware of the critical importance of additional revenue to finance all these initiatives that underpin our recovery and transformation agenda. Indeed, we are committed to raising our tax to GDP from the current 14% to 20% as our peers in the sub-region. The Ghana Revenue Authority is therefore implementing a transformation agenda to block the huge leakages in key sectors of the economy. This transformation agenda has the remit to identify and prevent revenue leakages whilst reinforcing the culture of compliance nationwide. A formal launch of this initiative is scheduled for Monday, 2nd August 2021.
The minister also announced a new program aimed at dealing with
participating financial institutions will provide low blended mortgage interest rates of between 11 to 12% as compared to the current market rates between 25 to 26%. Through this intervention, which builds upon and expands the pilot project implemented last year, our quest to promote residential home ownership while boosting the domestic construction sector to provide more jobs is on course.
Mr. Ofori-Atta insisted that the Ghana Cares program holds the key in transforming the economy.
We are also pursuing the Obatampa Youth Entrepreneurship Drive, Ghana Skills and Entrepreneurship Development Project, Student Entrepreneurship Initiative, the Youth in Community Improvement Model, and the Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program as direct interventions in targeted sectors to help our youth live decent lives and contribute to nation building.
The minister concluded the presentation requesting for the needed support from all parties in helping rebuild the economy.
We head off in a good direction.
Good evening, Daryl, and good evening to your viewers. I will say that the minister is trying to be very cautious and stay within his budget. Let me give a snapshot of his figures. So you see that in his budget he presented beginning of the year, government showed that by the end of June, the deficit would be 22.7 billion cedis. And truly, he has been able to manage the same deficit, 22.7 billion. What government did was that when he realized that there was a shortfall in revenue and grant collection of about 4 budget, what I noticed government trying to do with this agenda of getting the youth employed is a way to kickstart the economy all over again. The issue is that the youth in Ghana are very entrepreneurial, but there's no funding that we can use. Let me put it in a word saying that there's no fund that we can use to play along the side of risks. Every money that wants to go into business, people are making sure that they get returns on it. So the youth are not getting funds to be able to be used to venture into business. No angel investor in Ghana. The venture capital fund, as we have it established in Ghana, does not support beginners or startups. As Dr. Sherry mentioned, I am involved in the startup act that we are writing. They consult me a lot on that bill. What is lacking is the funding to start this project. But let me also give a sign of caution, because in Ghana, there have been an issue of a bank with a C and a bank with a K at the end. So we don't want the finance minister to fall on the side of a bank with a C, as he has put there as Youth Bank, and then it will turn into that line, because we know the bank with a C, where it has ended thousands, millions of Ghanaians. So it's a caution that I'm giving to the minister.
Well,
I know what the minister really said was that he is giving funding for youth support, and then he couched it in a short form, youth bank with a C at the end. So government must be very cautious because Ghanaians, we know what a bank with a C has done to us.
I was going to say that interestingly, it did come up during a conversation a while ago when somebody was asking, are we going to set up another bank? But the finance minister seems to place a bet on the Ghana Cares program as key to economic transformation. Do you think it's a safe bet?
It's difficult for me to say it's a safe bet because I was just looking at from 2014 when the fund was established. Because if you look at the minister's word, he said that the Ghana Care program hinges on the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. That is where the fund is going to come from. And since its inception, we have been able to lure $85 million from the French Development Agency before COVID. And before COVID, the fund was also in discussion with other international bodies who were doing the due diligence to give Ghana $170 million. This is the only money we have received. This fund is 100 billion cedis. And if by now we have received less than 20 billion Ghana cedis, it becomes a big problem for us as a country. So I don't know what government will have to do, how government is going to lure international investors to give the IIF funding, in other words, to propel the agenda set for the Ghana Care program.
Okay. Last question to you, and we talked about this on Monday, whether or not we should expect a review in taxes. Well, now we know there is no supplementary budget and there are no new taxes, but the current ones were not reviewed. Are you disappointed?
I'm not disappointed because taxation also have one element which is enforcement.
Great.
So instead of the government reviewing, and when he realized that there's a shortfall of about 4.4 billion, and government himself in the budget has identified the areas where the shortfalls are coming from. Petroleum, the petroleum industries, including the oil, mining, and gold industries, the port, and then international transit.
Right.
So these are the areas that the government himself has identified that's where they are not doing well, and they are going to make sure that we get the revenues.
Tell you what, Dr. Williams, we probably have a lot to talk about. We will fix an appointment with you and cover all the areas, but we're grateful you joined us for Business Live. Thank you, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. See you tomorrow.